Well, here we are once again at the Space Between podcast. We want to welcome our guest today, Adrian Vallera from the DisclosureFest. Thanks for coming.
Oh, we started?
We did.
This is how we do it. We started it, and you don't even know we started.
Yeah.
This is how we roll.
Wow. He was still turning cameras on.
This is how we do it. So what I want to do is talk about the art show and how we, how we came together, and that's how me and Eddie, once I came together, I've known Eddie for about 30 years, but it's through an art show that we did when I got out of a mental facility that they were holding me for mental illness. And so when I got out of that facility, me and Eddie put an art show on.
In Malibu.
Yeah.
With Carol Moss, and it was called Save Our Souls. Brought together a bunch of my friends like Retna and Shepard and Brainwash and Brandon Boyd and Cisco Adler and so on. And we raised a decent amount of money for homeless in Malibu.
The best thing was, well, not the best. Everything was great, but we got a board from Andy Irons. Andy Irons died of a drug overdose. And
he donated a board. His brother donated it to us.
Retna
Bruce
painted it.
And Retna painted it, and we sold that one. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
So now we have a Kelly Slater board that was painted by Retna that we're going to raise money for and donate.
Raise money with, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have a group of...
To our foundation,
kind of the same artists that I'm going to bring to the table. I got Slick, Deffer, Brandon Boyd. I can't remember the list. I should probably pull it up. But we would be really interested in getting some of your guys, involved in this.
Yeah, and I'm sure that everyone would be jumping at it.
Like we both have Mir One as a friend.
Yeah.
And a longtime colleague. Shout out to Mir.
Yeah, Mir.
Hopefully we get him on board and some of those other guys because what we find interesting about what we do is bridging the gap between, that's what it is, a space between. So it'd be interesting to see how all that work shows together.
Right.
The whole concept behind this is really bridging, I feel, consciousness, spirituality, and, when people say urban, what's that really mean? But I feel, 98% of the population is urban. If you're of lower income, urban. You're urban.
Yeah. No, exactly.
So I think
that's
it's just
what attracted me the most here with DisclosureFest. The prime, if you want to even call it an objective, is to reach as many people as possible and to activate the remembering, because that's what we're doing here in this illusionary, multidimensional universe. Is we're remembering who we are. We're remembering our connection to the universe. We're remembering that we are all actually one. So you're a reflection of me. I'm a reflection of you. We're a reflection of each other in an amazing, multi-dimensional, endless universe. So reaching as many people to activate this remembering is kind of what we do. So bridging this gap in different cultures and communities is just super in line. And then just thanks for reaching out and finding this opportunity to create together.
Dude, I love that phrase, remembering. I got chills. I'm not Joey where the downloads come in that way, and I know a lot of people get chills, but my experience is that's exactly how I feel. And the more sober I become, the more I remember who I am. And Tage talks about all the time, going back to who you were when you were put into this human experience.
Yeah. But I think that's the root of what an awakening is remembering. You can call it remembering, right? Because when you start to remember.
That's what I call it, because a lot of people say awake, I'm now awake.
Right.
And it's true, because you feel like you did fall asleep to it. But and a lot of times I changed it to reawakening, because you're just remembering. So that's literally what we're doing. We've chosen to forget a lot of this in order to do what I believe, honestly, is ancestral trauma work.
Yeah.
So we're clearing all this past life ancestral trauma through all these years and multi-dimensions of forgetting who we are. But through that, there was so much beautiful divine shadow work that, we were talking about it, like hitting rock bottom as a drug addict. Is that really rock bottom? Is that really horrible? It seems like at the moment. And then when you get through that process in your life, you're remembering.
Dude, trust me, I'm going through it right now. I got 22 days sober today, and it wasn't that I was rock bottom. I wasn't, I didn't lose everything. My mother didn't pass away, which God bless Joey, because if my mom did pass away, I'd probably be the complete, mess, because that's what pretty much led to who I am, is my mom passing away at 15. But I'm going through that. And I say in meetings, I don't think it's such a bad place to be when you have very few options that you turn to this program and to a higher power. You're actually lucky you've been given a chance. And if you just take it and you and you remember, as you said, it's pretty enlightening.
It's beautiful.
Great things come from chaos or from turmoil.
Right.
Well, you wouldn't even know. I mean, really think about it. You wouldn't have any light without dark. You wouldn't have one without the other. So you really have to go through these learnings, these teachings to understand. And I think a lot of people, that's why a lot of people play victim. Yeah. I did, and is they take these teachings or these learnings and you use it as a way to victimize yourself, so you can think the world owes you something.
Right.
And it really kind of is the wrong programming, because ultimately when you look at those things as what led you to the light. Because how would you have been led to the things you're led to without those dark times?
Yeah, those dark times and being down.
Right? But it's learning to deal with them. But people are so forced so quickly to go get medication to deal with dark times, to block it out.
It just gets darker.
So it gets darker. So we're like in this kind of like perpetual circle of bullshit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but I mean, let's face it.
But
we say
it's
this all.
okay though, right?
No,
I mean, it's like if someone's like, there's no time limit on spiritual growth.
Whatever. Exactly.
You have to go through it again. It's okay.
Right.
There's no judgment, that person chooses to go through that again, to remember, to learn, and have another shot. I mean, maybe there was something in there that wasn't completely.
It wasn't right. Yeah. I mean, that's my thing. I've been in and out of the program for 30 years. And this time I feel like it's, long history of alcoholism in our families on our side of the table. I'm not sure about yours, but, I can associate, identify, victimize, all that crap.
Yeah.
But this time it definitely feels like a switch flipped. And I owe it to Joey. I owe it to the space between. I owe it to a lot of the things that can currently happen in my life to lead me to where I am, to where I can accept it and be completely comfortable in that space to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's always been a really good reason why I didn't get sober or do the work or be of service,
Yeah.
You know what the funny thing is, though? It's not really to me, to you, because you got yourself there.
Well, yeah,
but
it's a set of circumstances that led to that. And like right now, I can tell you, I'm looking at this dude a hell of a lot different than I was when we were eating across the street at Cafe Gratitude, just based on remembering. And it's those key things that trigger, which I think is key, what you brought up about kind of some of the art that we have, that triggered me in a big way. Like, I'm going to use that, and that's going to be a part of my story now, is that remember.
Yeah.
So it like you said, it is an alignment.
Yeah.
It's when that sets up the future.
Yeah.
Which is great. And that's why we're here.
Yeah, and the wild thing is to go and even, I think probably when you started, it was remembering. And then all of a sudden you start to do these things that you don't know or understand why you're doing them.
Yeah.
And that's when people around me started to say that I looked like I was losing my mind.
Yeah.
I was just remembering.
You were remembering.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good segue. Let's can I ask a question?
Yeah, for sure.
When did when did Adrian realize that you were a conscious person, or you needed to make a change and be of service and do work?
And it's a little different with mine. You brought it up earlier, but you probably don't know this. It was a UFO experience.
Oh, wow.
I always make jokes with you about it, but it must be
my whole thing
the smoke, there's fire.
So tell us about it.
I was in my backyard in my mom's house. This is like 1990 or something like that. And I saw 3 nights in a row the same UFO, 45 minutes up in the sky doing maneuvers that a normal plane or satellite and I don't think we had drones back then, just couldn't do.
Were you clear, or were you altered states?
I was super clear.
Really?
And like that's kind of like what really started it or accelerated it.
How did you know at that time? Well, obviously with the second day and third day, but when you ask yourself, is this really happening?
Yeah.
When did you feel like that?
I just felt there was just so much so through meditate. That's when I was like really wanting to get deeper into meditation. I knew about it.
You were how old? Is that 19?
Man, I can't even, that's the math right there. But yeah, I think it was, no, it was.
Right around there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to think, trying to put a time with the decisions you're making as far as, the time in your life.
No. And I did I was starting to get into meditation a little bit, but really it was like more I heard about it.
By who? That's important though. How did you hear about meditation?
Through, I think, one of my mom's friends. And then.
Were your parents spiritual whatsoever?
No. I mean, my parents are born in Italy, super Catholic.
Very Catholic.
Very, very Catholic. And then, you know what? I went to Hollywood high school, and there was some people there that were into more spiritual, like activities and modalities like meditation and some healing arts. So, and that's kind of something that I always knew, but didn't really know to really dig in deeper. Is I would always put my hands on people, and start working, whether it's massage or just energy work. But at that time, I didn't know I was doing energy work.
Well, people are like, what are you doing touching me, touchy guy?
Sit behind somebody, one of my friends at an auditorium, because we were performing arts magnet. So we're always in the auditorium, and I just put my hands on people's shoulders, or pets. Anybody sitting next to me, I'm like rubbing,
Yeah, it's dope.
So, but really that experience really brought it in pretty clear. And then the channeling started, the meditation charts really started, then the channeling, and then that's kind of like when the remembering happens, and that's why it gets more and more intense, because we have our chakras and our centers and our aura, and there's a channel inside you that starts opening, and because of the suppression that we've created and chose to be in, we've shut that channel down. So when we're like remembering and we're introducing like plant-based lifestyles and we're doing meditation and yoga, this channel just keeps opening, And when the more we open, the more information that comes to the universe, And I use this analogy a lot. When you walk into a library, in order to understand what's in every book, you need to actually read them all. But if we actually open our channel, it's a download away everything you want to know, or everything you want to remember. It's just
it's the ether.
Amazing.
To it.
It's amazing.
So,
It's true too. It's true. When I first started going to Tage, I was afraid to close my eyes and lay down on the floor at the end of the class, because I would always see this little tiny hole at the top, and there'd be this like activity, like dark shadows moving.
Wow.
And I told her that in my privates, and she's like, "Don't worry about that. Just focus."
So you're talking about the squiggly black lines?
Yeah.
Yeah.